So yeah, already is just what's here, whatever's arising. The simplicity of what is. The wave is the ocean, and the ocean is the wave. They're not two. So this meeting's a little different in that it's about noticing rather than seeking or getting or becoming. Because it's already here. But when we're lost in thoughts, mind, imagination, story, and nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. Beautiful dreams, scary dreams, wacky dreams. But it's the idea that we're the ocean and the wave simultaneously.
Gorgeous, Michael.
Mhm. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, what's always here, what never changes, what's always with you, always remains despite the changes. It's self evident, it's obvious. And how else can singularity hang out with itself? It would have to project itself as an object of awareness, as something to be aware of, which is a beautiful dream.
I was going to read an excerpt from my last script.
Yay.
This is the bittersweet grace of futility. When fighting what is ceases, something shifts. Not because you surrendered, but because you see the utter futility of the fight. The mind screams, but I need to change. And the universe whispers, you are the changeless space where change happens. This is really the last thing we wanted to hear. That there is no inherent truth to find that makes the existential angst of life disappear. The relief of no longer needing to control the uncontrollable. But non-duality isn't a magic pill. It's a pristine mirror. It shows you what's already true, exactly as it is. Obvious, simple. There is no one here to solve. The insecurity, it's already allowed. The hope for it to leave, allowed. The frustration that it stays, allowed. It's it's the radical permission to do the only thing you can do. Be who you are. This is the kind of love that doesn't pick favorites.
Mhm.
Gorgeous.
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 Thanks, Leela.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow.
Mit anderen vom Schwarm, die weiß jetzt nicht, wie die drauf sind, nach der
Gorgeous also.
From Oliver to everyone, this is so great. Thank you. Olivera? Who's that? Olivera.
Yes, that's me.
Thank you. Thank you, Olivera.
Thank you.
Yay, friend. Good to see you.
Good to see all of you.
Hmm.
This is an open meeting. Everyone's welcome to share. If you have a comment or question, please feel free to unmute and jump in.
Hmm. I just wanted to say that I remember when I was first looking for this, and it was because I wanted some certainty in my life. The thought, I got frustrated with running into things that turned out to be a dead end. And then you get into this type of thing, you get into a teacher or whatever, and then they're studying somebody else, and it says, in search of the miraculous. Remember Ouspensky's In Search of the Miraculous? It's like this big thing that's going to happen. And there you go. It's like the big carrot out there. And as long as when I get that, I will be set. I'll be set for life. And there the seeker went over and over again. And all of the intellectual stuff, especially Gurdjieff and all these type of things, and even Vedanta. I mean, Vedanta is just wow. All of the different Upanishad, all of the things, the Gitas and you get all of that and you recognize, okay, there's one thing that's certain, and then there's an apparent or seeming reality that we're experiencing. But yet, where's this one thing that's certain? It's already here. It's what we're told, and you can feel it and you can sense it, and because it never goes anywhere. But and then you read Robert Schultzman, and he's questioning everything, and and it's almost like he's saying that there's only the changeless, and that's in objects. I understand that, but I just can't get this. That's the
Mm-hmm.
crux of it. I can't get it, and it's afraid to even recognize that there is no purpose to this. That's the hard one. You lose friends over that one.
Beautiful, Manny. Wow.
It's beautiful.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like there's two sides of the coin? One side is no purpose, no meaning, and then the other side is all purpose and all meaning, and you flip between one side and the other, or spinning on the edge, trying to work out where you are.
Paul, that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say you're the ocean and the wave simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this, you can notice there's this wanting, at least here, to arrive, to finally figure it out, to land. And notice the ocean. It's always moving. There is no landing place.
Mm-hmm.
like weakness and strength is the same, is seen the same here. Whereas before it was seen as one better than the other.
Hmm.
But there's the love, that there's the unconditional right there, just to see that both are the same. But we've been trained as humans to believe that one is better than the other. So then we're more fixated on the strength. And then when the weakness arises, there is a resistance towards that. Instead of instead of being in that and not allowing that whatever is coming through, challenges or frustration or whatever, it's allowed here. Whereas before there was a thought that's like, don't go there. And then there was a belief in that. So I see them both the same. And when it's seen the same, where is the judgment? Where it's gone.
It's a continuum, Indira, like you and I and Leela were discussing this morning on the phone. That's what we don't see. Love and hate are not two different things. It's one continuum.
It's also just language, isn't it? It's just words. And the matrix of language is attached to emotions through conditioning and programming that then arise as problems or as separation and good and bad. And they're just movements never seen to be seen now, consciously, noticing them, choicelessly. It's like, oh, that. Okay. It was there. Shit. It's like all paths lead to futility. And the narrow path indeed is the futile of the most. I remember the moment when that hit me, my legs gave way. I was in my shed getting some camping gear, and it just hit me so hard. It's all futile, and I just sobbed, and my knees gave. I fell to the floor, and I was just, I can't do anything. And then I never did anything.
Beautiful.
Brutal, brutally beautiful, or beautifully brutal.
Yeah,
Or both.
tragic love story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the what's being looked for is the one looking. That's the joke. So like outward, singularity is projecting itself as everything, like the Nisargadatta quote. Love says I'm everything. Wisdom says I'm no thing, you know. So like extroverted, when you're paying attention outward, you're rendering yourself as this beautiful illusory dream world, a fantasy to play with yourself as, to interact with yourself as singularity. And then reverted, when the mirror turns around on itself, it's seen as all alone, singularity, the absolute. Like the waves, the tides, the ebb and flow, like when the tide comes back in, it into itself, the mirror turns around and consciousness sees itself. It's not the character that wakes up, it's consciousness recognizing itself as not the character, not the shiny plastic things it's projecting itself as.
So what about this? And I think I seem to always go to this place, but as we're playing with this, the ocean and the wave, wisdom and love. And when we go to, there's no one doing this, it's just happening. Can we also how are you doing with also including the other side of that, the love side of it that includes? And at the same time, there was no one doing it. At the same time, there's this character named Sid who was making choices and this is the mountains and rivers are back again. How is that just how are we playing with that, Jenny, Leela, Indira, Michael? How's that playing for you guys right now?
For me, there was a being aware of being aware and then seeing myself as the absolute. So that was like the exclusion part of it, where it was like, oh shit, I'm not what I thought I was. Kind of like Jim Carrey said, I realized, or I thought I was a guy experiencing the universe, and then I realized I'm the universe experiencing a guy. Um, there was a seeing, what we truly are. And then there was a tantric quality of it where it's all inclusive. It's like, oh my God, I'm projecting myself, dreaming myself as all of this. I'm everything. So it's like this love affair being everything.
So I would say, Sid, it's the seeing that you've actually never done anything.
Okay, but once that's seen, once we see through the transparency of it all, and I really am grappling with this. In my work, I'm even thinking about adding kind of what we call a fourth view, that once we realize the Rumi's field, that there's just this, and there's just the transparency of it all, then it comes back to finding the sense of the person within that, the one that is doing and choosing that's happening, and even a personalness of that within the it's just
It's
happeningness.
already happening. It's right now. Right now, it's happening. We could say that's a wave. This is a wave, and it appears like there's all these separate waves that look independent. But we're also the ocean simultaneously. So
Right.
you can play, Sid, when you're as a wave or ocean, same.
Can you reach into the screen that you're looking at now and extract something? Can you exclude something from this screen and say, oh, no, not that? Because that's kind of what you're asking. Can you take something out of this? Can you exclude anything and it's personal?
No, but I'm going the opposite direction. I'm like saying including something in that. Then once we know the screen and everyone, then there is then we to include the someone. And I'm a little foggy today, but it's that's what I'm
Could
playing
you
with.
could you rephrase that question in a different way for me, Sid?
It's almost once Leela and I played with uh, that Zen framework. At first there was mountain and rivers, and there are no mountain and rivers. When we realize there's only the movement of this, there's nothing personal, it's all beingness. And then there are mountains and rivers again. And I'm saying the mountains and rivers again isn't just form. It can also go to the sense of doership, a sense of a chooser, a sense of a personal that can play in that. And that's what I'm grappling with.
So self is a state, it's a feeling and a sense of doership, but there's never doership. There's never an entity. So the self we're talking about is it's sort of a state that can flow in and out of experience. Um, it's already all inclusive, whether it feels like it is or not.
But why not include the entity again, the form again as well? Once it's seen,
It
why
is. Yeah,
the
it
emptiness of
is. It's
form
all
is,
inclusive.
and so we can why not allow the full form being back here with the sense of a chooser?
Hmm. That's what I mean by the tantric quality of this. It's like it looks at itself and then it's like, oh wow, I'm all of it. I'm not separate from any of it. So then the thoughts aren't resisted, the appearances aren't resisted because nothing's separate. It can even appear like ecstasy. Sitting in a chair can appear like ecstasy because it's beyond intimacy. It's being everything. So thoughts can shimmer, everything can be shimmering because it is you as the infinite. You are everything.
So thinking you're the doer or believing you're the doer, then seeing the emptiness of everything, um, and then sort of the integration, all of those are just perspectives of sort of, just to put it into words, looking at this, but this is always whole and always all inclusive. Doesn't matter. We're free to see it in any way we want to see it.
Mhm.
Or this is free to see itself how it wants to see it.
Yeah, from infinite perspective, just, you know.
I don't see myself as someone or person um walking. You know, it's like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's like it's walking, it's seeing, it's hearing, it's playing roles. There's anger coming through. Um, and it's all being seen and noticed by what? I ask myself, by what? There's the pointer right there. And when I look and see, I don't see anything. And that's the cosmic joke. And so there can still be role playing. I could still have a conversation with my brother as his sister. There can still, all of this still happens. You know, like there can still be anything that happens in this of what we're talking about. Um, but I was talking to Michael and Leela today, and there's no more like holding on to stories of what the body does anymore. There may be memories, but there's no holding on to stories. It's kind of cool because there's like a forgetting. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
There seems to be some fun in playing with the spectrum, right, of this freedom. As we know, this freedom of what Indira is describing, this absolute freedom. Oh, she's doing this and this. And then almost playing with the spectrum, the knob of like how far back into this the virtual reality of this particular lens, this particular experience, can we go? Maintaining the sense of freedom while we're having a personal experience, all in the fun of playing with that knob and not that's that's my game.
That's beautiful.
That could
Hey,
totally happen.
Sid. Oh,
Oh, go,
sorry.
go, you go ahead, Kate.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kate.
Hey,
Um, I don't know you, Sid, but hi, Sid. Um, I'm wondering if maybe you're asking a little bit about, it just reminded me of years ago when I was at Francis Lucille's house. And someone was asking him, I think, sort of what you're asking. And he said, something about, no, I'm sorry. As an ego, as a separate self, you have no control. I think the word was control. I think that he used. And then he said, but as awareness, you and I don't know if he said you have complete control, but he was saying the other side of the coin. And I'm wondering if you're sort of asking a little bit about that, like at, at what, because a lot of people do sort of go from I've done nothing, there's no one here doing anything, to then you meet them years later and they're talking about how they are in mastering their life and complete control. It's like the
Hmm.
other end of the spectrum. And maybe are you asking a little bit about sort of how those dance together? I know personally as a parent and raising children, that comes up a lot because we raise our children to have a strong sense of self, and there's a time that it's necessary for that. So I don't know, is that sort of getting a little bit in there, like how much as awareness are you doing It might just be semantics. I don't know.
So, hi, Kate. That was delicious and delightful what you shared, and I enjoyed it. And it's more like the play of it. Like there's not a
Hmm.
like a searching for the truth of it here. It's
Right.
like in this, it's like the play of playing with the knob of even personalizing. Can we there's like
Yes.
to personalize to not personalize to play with that. And that's just what I was kind of asking our kind of our leading panel of the four and everybody else, like how that played for them playing with that knob of personalizing.
Yeah.
Why do we have to play with the knob? I'm not clear
Mm,
why any of that needs
I
to be
know.
done.
It, yeah. It doesn't, it did, nothing needs to be done. And I think that that is what all of that skips over, if you will. The no need,
Yeah.
you know?
But I want to get a handle on it.
Yeah, it is about self. It is about control. It is about I want to have a point to operate from. And
Even in the
there's no point.
I I think
even
part of the issue is that um, we often get into it's almost like a philosophical debate, like is there the doer or not the doer? But what if, and when does the doer going to be there or not be there? Those are all debates about, in a sense, but in the actuality, it may appear or there may be an experience that feels like there's a doer,
Yeah.
and that's what's showing up, and that's included too. And I think that whether ultimately it's like saying is there free will or no free will, but what is whatever's showing up. And if there's the feeling, and I don't mean the feeling literally, but if there's that experience or whatever we call it, that there seems to be a controller or a doer, then that's what's there.
Mhm.
And that's what's showing up as well. And that's fully included.
Yeah. And ultimately you sort of what we're talking about is that you would never know either way. You can't know. And then you're back to because there is no knower apart from what is appearing. So it always comes back to for me it comes back to I don't know anything and I just remain silent even though now I've just blabbed my mouth. There you go. That's
Beautiful.
my life story. I could talk 10 hours about how I don't know anything.
I
That's me.
love it.
Maybe that's being an actress.
Yeah, it's like wearing a VR headset and then thinking you're the avatar in the headset. Or even at the movie theater when you get, immersed in the movie and emotionally involved, and all of a sudden you're the character on the screen and the movie's real. And this is playing with itself like that. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to dream this. This is how you interact with yourself. As singularity, dream yourself as objects of awareness, something to be aware of for fun, to experience. It's all beautiful. There's no when there's no resistance, when awareness saw itself and I was like, oh snap, I'm not the character. It seemed to be a movie that was already filmed, just playing on the screen and effortlessly flowing. There was no resistance to it. So then it was obvious that I wasn't even inside the body and I didn't even need a body. And then it's just doing itself, flowing, and then you can just watch it like that. It's not like when I'm doing graphic design on the computer, it's just doing itself. I'm not doing anything. I'm I wanted to read this little part of Rupert Spira's Being Aware of Being Aware book. It said, if we are absorbed in a movie, it may seem at first that the screen lies behind the image. Likewise, if we are so captivated by experience that we overlook the simple experience of being aware or awareness itself, we may first locate it in the background of experience. In the first step, being aware of awareness itself is recognized as the subjective witness of all objective experience. Looking more closely, we see that the screen is not just in the background of the image, but entirely pervades it. Likewise, all experience is permeated with the knowing with which it is known. It is saturated with the experience of being aware or awareness itself. There is no part of a thought, feeling, sensation, or perception that is not infused with the knowing of it. This second realization collapses, at least to a degree, the distinction between awareness and its objects. In the third step, we understand that it is not even legitimate to claim that knowing, being aware, or awareness itself pervades all experience, as if experience were one thing and awareness another. Just as the screen is all there is to an image, so pure knowing, being aware, or awareness itself is all there is to experience. All there is to a thought is thinking, and all there is to thinking is knowing. All there is to an emotion is feeling, and all there is to feeling is knowing. All there is to a sensation is sensing, and all there is to sensing is knowing. All there is to a perception is perceiving, and all there is to perceiving is knowing. Thus, all there is to experience is knowing, and it is knowing that knows this knowing. Being alone, being all alone, with nothing in itself other than itself, with which it could be limited or divided, knowing or pure awareness is whole, perfect, complete, indivisible, and without limits.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
I think the knowing that he's speaking about is sentience, not
Knowledge.
conceptual.
Yeah, it's not like the limited label of something. Yeah. Semantics, words are so tricky because people can have different definitions. I use the word knowing as pure awareness, pure consciousness. And then I love the word self, the capital S self, as the one immortal being that's projecting, dreaming itself to be. So I love those words.
I loved what you said, Harvey, and that's what I was going to say is that I don't have to worry about whether or not the sense of a self is here because it happens automatically. It's very intelligent. I don't have to worry about when that's going to happen. It knows what to do.
Yeah, which is why in Zen, it is said, after if we stop at the just at the experience of emptiness, it's called a half moon enlightenment. But we come back to the community carrying water, chopping wood, mountains and mountains, and rivers again. So self appears to be, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, we can certainly debate it, and people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And yet, it may feel like there is a controller or a doer, or there may not be. But it's what is. That's the isness. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can show up as it can show up as personal. And even that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Sid, I can you give me an example of just a simple example of what made you ask that question, an experience that happened for you that had you just curious?
Well, this is what I'm exploring. It's just like what Harvey says, when you get back to the mountains or mountains and you get back in the marketplace. And for my system, I'm even thinking it goes to a fourth place. It goes to like even bringing the personal back where it really is, where it comes. There's a fourth place after mountain, and then Sid is Sid, and Indira is Indira, and there's
Mm-hmm.
choice again. And so why I'm exploring this, Indira, it's almost like what Jenny was saying, like with the movies. Like cool, like you want to be able to kind of like have the full experience of the movies and like wow, almost like relate to the characters and be in it. Like that's kind of fun. And so I'm just exploring that knob, and I'm not answering your question. You asked me for a specific example. Um, there are times when, gosh, gosh. I'm not sure. It's really just playing with that spectrum, and it's really interesting for me as I play with you guys that can like dance this full spectrum. It's really fun to play with that dancing and to see if Sid can be in that fourth place after mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers and still maintain freedom. And I also don't have the degree of freedom that you guys are speaking from. And so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of kidding myself in this or if there's a little resistance to letting go further or surrendering further, which might be really what's at play here. I don't know. What you got, Indira? And did I answer it well enough? How am I doing?
Well, if confusion is coming up, that's it. And the answers will come to you. It doesn't have to be right now, but that's perfect. Like where you're at is perfect.
I see what you're saying, Sid. I when I recognize I'm not the character, that's when it was fun to play the character. I was like, hell yeah, I'm not the character. And then it was just uninhibited and it went wild and it did what it wanted. And it was like, I remember driving my Jeep, and it was like the first time I've ever driven. Like everything was amplified and the pedals were squishy and I was like, whoa, what is this? You know, like it's like just seeing this body for the first time. It was like, and this is fun. And basically like you're walking around in your own imagination and none of this is real and everything's you, so everything's harmless and all inclusive and you don't resist anything, so you're not scared of thoughts. You don't believe in the boogeyman anymore. And so it's just like it is a love affair. It's all inclusive and so, yeah, maybe that's what the word embodiment is or something where it's like um, you can, have fun with the character. You can, and also know that you're not the character. You're not, that intuitive sense that, you're the entire universe. You're the absolute.
Yeah.
Being
And
in the world and not of it, and seeing that you're not of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
yeah, that was kind of what I was going to say, Indira. So it was sort of like initially there was just believing you're a wave,
Mm-hmm.
separate wave. It was very strong. And then at some point, you begin to see that, oh, wait, there's this vast ocean that's here. And there can be a natural tendency. It feels better to be a whole ocean than a single wave. But then the third part, as we say, when the mountains become mountains again and the rivers become rivers, is realizing the ocean and the wave are not two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a full integration kind of thing where it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's whole.
So then you're free to play because you're never not the ocean playing as anything you can imagine, Sid. So I would say go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that tantric quality of this, the all inclusive, just being everything. It's
Yeah,
And
this
it's okay if the mind wants to land. You can notice that without identifying with it.
Yeah, that's why I like the word semi-transparent.
The mind is all about knowing. And so it's very natural to think that, self-realization is a knowing, but it's not. It's a noticing.
Hmm.
It's noticing what's already always been here the whole time.
Hmm.
And that doesn't need to be sustained, you know?
And it's also very easily missed. So subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a noticing because there's no one to notice.
Hey, Dawn.
Yeah, because nothing we say is true. It's just nothing. It's all just symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could say it's nothing we say is false.
Yeah, it's not about right or wrong. Thoughts are not right or wrong. They're just empty.
And y'all know what? I think it's so beautiful that I'm sitting here and I'm just hearing the silence and then the wave of all the different voices talking. It's like this meeting, this talking, it's like weather to me. It's so natural, like nature, just like I heard the wash of voices that go for 20 seconds and then it dies down, and it's like this meeting is the whole, and it's just being nature.
Mm-hmm. And how can you separate yourself from that? It's
And
so
you just can't. Yeah, it's so
Hmm.
so beautiful. The other day I was sitting there and I said something out loud to myself because I talk to myself a lot. Um, because I live with
Don't we?
teenagers and they don't want to talk to their mom. Um, and I was like, my voice was no different than the bird
mm-hmm.
going cuckoo, cuckoo. Like it wasn't that I went, I am the bird. It was just that it was very obvious that my voice was nature, just like the bird.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to a Kate Higgins. It's life itself, it belongs to life itself. It has a very different quality than believing that you own your words. Yeah.
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 Yeah, being aware of this body is no different than being aware of anything in the room. It's all the same. And
Right.
it can be so literal and obvious too. If you close your eyes, um, every sensation, every sound, every feeling is appearing within awareness. It can't be separate. And there's no borders or boundaries, no end or beginning. You can't measure where it ends or begins. And it's just this infinite spaciousness from which all of these finite sensations are appearing and disappearing. And it's not separate, it's just, it can't appear without you being aware. It doesn't, it's the
Mhm.
empty potential or, yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Sid.
Okay. So Kate's talking about nature and being inseparable from nature. The science and non-duality folks that used to lead the big conferences for 20 years with all the non-dual people, they just like 2 weeks ago spent a whole week focusing on returning to nature through the indigenous folks. And they just had all the indigenous, they did this video and got all this stuff for a whole week on this. And how do we do this? Because we don't have the gift of having grown up in an indigenous culture where we never separated from nature for some of those folks. But I love talking about nature because it translates to ordinary, regular folks. Lots of us are sharing this in the world, and I love the sense of nature is not something we go and experience, or the earth isn't something that we possess and own. It's what we are, and we're inseparable from it. How do you guys make that bridge to knowing ourselves as nature? Because I'm wanting to do workshops on this, and yeah. So what do you guys do with that? Knowing ourselves as nature and helping us return to it as it.
I would say you can become curious as to how that might be that we are nature, and explore that with all your senses, not conceptually, and notice as deeply as you possibly can in that way, feeling.
Mm.
It's not a conclusion. It's not, a certain set of words that you're going to find that you're going to believe that's going to be correct. It's something that can be sensitively discovered, in a stillness.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Interestingly, I saw a little video earlier today of a young woman out in the woods, and she was purposefully talking to the trees. And she said, just step back, and the leaves and the branches just pulled away. And you could see, I mean, it could all be fixed, it could all be rubbish, but the leaves and the branches just moved back. And she said, now, I love you. And if you love me, touch my hand. If you love me, touch my hand. And then little bit by little bit, the little branches came back and they touched her hand. And she says, so that everybody can see, just step back again, step back again. Thank you. I love you. And then the branch moved back again. And it's the second video like that I've seen of someone interacting so intimately with nature. I don't know how that resonates, but I just thought it was beautiful, regardless of,
That is beautiful.
Yeah. But also there was language. That's my fascination. But the Druidic language, they named the trees by the sound that the wind made when it rustled through the leaves. That became the name of the tree.
Wow.
I just thought that was incredible.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, like the Eskimos have like 214 words for snow.
Yeah.
I feel for me, it's not hard. It's when I'm out in nature, I can sense, I can also see, like to me, when I look at nature, like in the morning when I get up for work, it's dark and getting into the car and there's trees, the same trees that they're always there, but they almost look like snapshots. Like if I took a picture of a tree, it's not the same experience that I have when I look at it. It's not even TREE. It's just I see it's mirroring back the stillness that I am already. It's mirroring back that emptiness already that I am. And even whenever there's frustration or some urgencies that are coming up here or challenges, when I go outside and look at them, it's almost like they're mirroring back to me that I'm safe. I mean, they're just words, but there's a stillness to them. It's and then there's like a calming here. It's like everything's okay, but the mind makes it not okay. There may be an attachment to thoughts in a moment or two. And then when I look at nature, it's even when the leaves, if you really look and watch and just be still and watch, it almost looks like they're saying hello, with the wind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said hello to me too. Yeah.
Travel to the UK, I remember many years ago, I used to go to Manchester, Belfast, and Bristol, and I get off that plane and go right into the bus and exhaustion and just I love the trees there too. I mean, they're the same as here, just visually they're different, but they're gorgeous. And I always felt this kindred like connection with them. Like my attention was even back then, it was just on the beauty of it. It's very artistic to look at. I could actually draw the trees, how the arms are going this way. And it almost looks like a ballerina if you look at it. But they're mirroring back to me what I already am, just like animals do.
Animals.
Pointing right back.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they really point to innocence.
Yeah.
Naturalness. Like we are, it's just all so natural, and we are of the earth, and trees are of the earth. I mean, even as a kid, didn't you look at animals and I mean, I remember looking at fish just going, of course I didn't say I am that as a child, but I knew I was not separate from that. I knew there was never a separation in the chain of the natural universe. Like, when would I have become my own entity, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I knew that never happened. There was never a demarcation like that.
hmm
Innocence of,
Yeah, the look in the animal's eyes.
yeah.
Everything is God waking itself up from the dream. So everything is very obvious. Like when you see this, you see it in every movie, you hear it in every song lyric. It's all saying, there's no one to wake up. It's already awakened. There's nothing to have to do. This is all novelty. You're God dreaming this. And so, even in the animal's eyes, that pure consciousness prior to thought, that's pointing to that, no, that there is no me. There is no. And it's so cool too, because this is projecting itself, this is singularity projecting itself as subject object perspective to interact with itself, to experience itself. Because how could you see a tree if you were seeing it from the infinite perspectives that you are? There would be no tree, So it's this beautiful hallucination that appears to be seen through, an aperture of yourself. But you're never really like, I love the pointing of the biggest clue to me is the dream at night, because when you wake up from the dream, you realize it was just a dream. The world that you dreamt and all the characters, there was no separate world, there was no separate characters, there were no individuals, there weren't actual physical people, there was nothing physical. There was it was all a projection of the mind. That's all it was. And all there was, when you distill it to what's really happening, is pure awareness, is pure perceiving. And you're not actually interacting with any objects to experience or coming in contact with something to experience. Nothing is what it appears to be. Like, you're not sitting in a chair right now. You don't have a body. There's just one. One is just mental. This is all a mentation, all a freaking beautiful hallucination, so that you as the infinite can taste yourself. So there's no actual objects to experience. There's only knowing of experience and nothing physical or objective, only pure subjectivity tasting itself as knowing. So you take away all the senses. You hold this teacup and you take away the sense of touch and seeing, and what is there? There's no body or teacup. It's all mental perception. And what is the body, the world, without those mental senses, perception? What is the body, the world, or anything you thought was physical? Just one awareness making love to itself as perception. So there is no separation. It's all a projection of your mind. The whole beautiful nature, the trees, the world, is all temporal mentation.
Beautiful, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you. I loved what you guys said. It's so cool.
I was writing some poetry this morning, and a line popped into my head, which was, "I am the finite infinity." So I just wanted to share that and play around with it a bit, because I thought it was really cool.
That is cool.
That's it. That's the wave in the ocean, not two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really it's just noticing the urge to land, and that can loosen,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
like you're already okay.
It really
Yeah.
comes down to that, doesn't it? And that's the toughest it's like you can't get that, is the whole thing. You can't get that. It is the case, but you can't get it. And it is that simple. It's like the whole, well, Leela and I have talked about this growing up in the South about salvation, religion. It's like the cart before the horse. The whole thing's flipped. The point is just that you already are innocent.
Yeah.
You are not needing something to make that the case. It is the case. And perhaps you could argue that was what Christ's message was, and boy, did it get twisted around,
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the semantics. That's the
Yeah.
fun part, the hide and seek with all of the mind scams and,
Yeah.
which, so like, it's too easy. Like the pathless path is just being. Case closed. Already
Case
is.
closed. Full
Already
stop.
is done. And then the mind will come in, but wait a minute, it can't be that easy. It's got to be somewhere in the future. It's got to be this, got to be that. But that is it. That's the infinite projecting itself as the thought. So the seeker is the sought. The
Yeah.
one that what's being looked for is the one looking. So it's like you turn around and you look at yourself and you're like, what's experiencing this? Am I aware?
You can't escape it. And I was just thinking yesterday, just like even the days in life that I felt like an imposter. It's like even you can't even escape that. That's an expression of it too. That's
Yeah.
when you're really in the corner. I can't
Yeah.
even fucking be I can't believe I'm an imposter. Can't even have that. That's when you're like, fuck me. That's the, no more moves. Oh, sorry to drop all the F bombs, guys. It's only a matter of time with me.
Hey, where'd you grow up? Where's that accent from?
Alabama, honey.
Where in Alabama? I lived in Huntsville for like 7 years.
Oh, Auburn. I grew up in
Okay.
Auburn, Alabama. Went to school there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
my nephews are
give
at
me
Auburn.
30 minutes and I'll turn into a redneck and get
I
this
bet.
meeting
Yeah.
real low brow, real
That's
fast.
awesome. Yay.
There's a parable in the Bible in John, and it just says, "It is finished."
Oh, chill bumps. I love that.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it?
Talk about already.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's resting as
It's resting.
being. Yeah, it's just like, and that's
Oh,
it.
it's resting.
Too easy.
It knows.
Yeah.
So trying is this too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to try. Try everything.
Yes, thank you, Michael. You're so sweet to always you come in with those little reminders because right away, yeah, the mind will go, I should be at rest.
Yeah.
I should be. I should always feel restful. And then
Apparently not.
apparently not. And then that's okay too. Even the thought that you should be something is okay too. Again, it's already free and it just gets overlooked or forgotten like immediately, you know?
And once that's seen, no matter what happens here, if I have like a so-called bad day or hiccups or whatever, once that's seen, it's like it's so beautiful because it's not there's no judgment on it anymore. I don't see it happening here anymore. Like there's like an okayness to be completely human with all the musical notes of emotions, all of them. not just peace and inspiration and joy, sadness, grief, anger, frustration. I talk about emotions a lot because I'm just so thrilled that I can experience them.
Yeah.
Even though there are times where it's uncomfortable. That's it too. It's all it.
I had that this winter. I woke up one morning and there was just this. I've been depressed, I've been through depression kind of thing, and there was just this heavy depression there, and it was like, whoa, that's familiar. And my youngest daughter said, "Daddy, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "There's depression here." I said, "But I'm fine." And it took 4 days to go. It was 4 days of this is okay. I know what it is, but the body was depressed, the mood was depressed, it was all there. And it was just like, it's okay because I know what this is. And then just had a phone call with a friend and it was gone. And it was just, oh, that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And there was still the invitation to really go into it, really become depression, really let go. Do you want to do this? It's like, no, I'm good. I'll just keep, I'll just keep here. But yeah, it was really interesting, and really interesting. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, when you feel it completely, when you're aware of the sensation without thought, just purely beyond intimacy being it, it dissolves within you and it's integrated. It comes home. I noticed that once I did that with depression, and brought it home and allowed it to be there. You're welcome anytime. It stopped coming up. I wanted to read this thing I wrote that's in alignment with that. This is a love affair with everything. What you're resisting is what you're longing for. This infinite being plays hide and seek with itself by projecting itself as resisted thought. What you resist persists because you are everything. Everything will bang on the door to come home and bang even louder until you surrender to yourself. You are what you're looking for. You are the infinite, immortal, formless beingness that's ever present, always with you. You are the lover that never left you. You are the infinite hiding from yourself in what's being resisted. When you are aware of what's being resisted without thought, just pure presence, feeling the sensation of it fully and completely without resistance, just being it, it dissolves within you. By feeling it, being it, awareness of the sensation without thought, it neutralizes and comes home to itself. Awareness projects and perceives itself as everything. It conceives and destroys. Try holding on to the resistance. You can't. Once aware of it, it incinerates it. It's like a dumpster fire. It destroys everything that you're aware of. Try holding on. Yeah, try holding on to it. You can do an experiment with it. If there's a resisted thought that comes up, or a dread, or feeling it, like being aware of it without thought, completely neutralizes, completely dissolves. You can't hold on to it. It's like drawing in water. It's coming and going, but you're the screen of awareness that remains despite the changing feelings and sensations and things resisted. So then you see yourself as the absolute. If even the sensation of me, because it only stays there if you resist it. It only appears to be there if you resist it. Because what you resist persists because you are everything. So even with the sensation of me, when it's resisted, it'll persist until, aware of the feeling fully without resistance, just being purely intimately feeling it. And it dissolves within you. And then there's no separation. It's like boom. Yay.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you. Someone said in the chat, without any effort on my part, my formlessness formed into the heart. It appeared as if real, distinct, and discreet. The infinite me now bound. What a feat. And in this heart, the mirror of me, I knew the finite infinity. Paul, that's beautiful. Yay.
Nice.
That
Thank
was
you.
the one stanza that I thought I'd share with you. But yeah, so
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it becomes experiential. And I can relate so much to what you shared, Paul, because it does become experiential because there's more now of there's like this openness and allowance, even though it's uncomfortable. I can't explain it. It's like an unsaid uh, permission to just go in. Whereas before I couldn't feel that unsaid permission. It was more, there was more of a identification with don't go there, but there's no don't go there. There's more of like an openness to just, and it's so raw. And like you said, once that's felt here, and like Jenny was saying, it just, the next day it's like, okay, let's go to the store and go shopping.
Yeah.
What am I going to cook today?
Yay.
Indira, that's so good what you just, what was the word you just said about it doesn't come up to not go there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Mm.
I've sort of noticed that too. Like, there's just and it's not a sense of, oh, it's not I'm going to not resist. It doesn't come up like that. It's more just like it just doesn't seem to happen anymore. There's an unspoken freedom to just sort of like I don't even join these types of meetings often at all. And when I texted Michael for the link yesterday, I was very like, oh, I want to join a meeting. Then I woke up this morning, I was like, I don't know if I want to join a meeting. And normally I would have really that would have been predominant, the resistance. But I just sort of found myself getting in the shower. It's like I couldn't really buy into the resistance. And it just sort of happened. It just sort of felt like, oh, guess I'm going into this meeting. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a personal triumph at all. It just feels like you're noticing lack of resistance more for me. That's what it feels like here. And also to what Jenny, what you were saying, and then I'll shut up. Uh, yes, for me, it is very tantric and alchemical. And when if you want to use the words of awareness shines its light on whatever, the integration, it literally feels like melting and like,
Yeah.
like it's burning it down and you're like, and then the body goes, and it sort of
Yes.
integrates into itself
Mhm.
and then it's gone. Yeah, and then you go to the mall or
Yay.
whatever. But
Next.
I had 4 days, just like our lovely poet just said. I can't remember your name, lovely gentleman.
Paul.
Paul, I came back from a convention. I absorbed a lot of energy from people. Anyway, just no story attached, but just sobbing, and the body going. And there's not even an attempt to understand why. It doesn't even matter. There's no why, but it just lasted. It lasted for 3 or 4 days. And the beauty of it is that I was didn't make it wrong. We're always making sadness wrong, you know. I didn't make it wrong, and that has taken so-called time. That has taken years to be able to not be afraid of sadness. I used to
Beautiful.
be terrified of sadness, a lot of depression and
That's it. It's like once there's no resistance, once you see it's not separate, even the thoughts, it's like when there's no separation, you're not scared of them. You're not resisting them. They're not the boogeyman anymore. And it's
yeah.
all welcome. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
So all is well right now,
Yay.
regardless of what my head says, or
Uh,
even when it's not.
Heck yeah. Whatever's being felt right now
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No separation.
Have you ever tried being spiritual when you're exhausted? I mean, you can't hardly move of doing all these crazy things and stuff. As you get older, you'll know it. What I mean, the energy level kind of goes down, and so you think you got something, and you can handle anything, and then you order a refrigerator that takes 2 weeks to get here after cancellation after cancel, and people just don't do what they say they're supposed to do. Anyway, and that's when your mind just kind of goes, I give up. I give up.
Yeah.
And then there it is. You get the call and it's coming.
Isn't that sweet? I love that.
Yeah.
and you fixed your camera.
Almost. I'm still purplish. I'll work on it some more. At least it came up a little bit last Wednesday. It wouldn't have been nothing. My USB's disconnected for some reason.
If I can share a little story with you, I have
Yeah.
7 children and 2 grandchildren, and both the grandchildren are autistic. One more so, a little bit savant than my granddaughter. My grandson is he's more the ADHD side. He's just like bursting with testosterone at nearly 8 years old, and all we ever do is I mean, he comes and stays with me every second week, and he looks at me coyly and he'll go, "Hey, Grandpa, you know what the time is? It's play fighting time!" And then he unleashes himself on me. And I was saying to Michael and the others earlier in the week, he was just, this is his bed behind me, and he was just kind of getting ready for bed, and he said, "Hey, Grandpa, just before you fall asleep and the body kind of goes like this, is that when the VR headset turns off?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, and so I went through this explanation, the physiology and what's happening. And then he eventually goes, "Yeah, so it is." It was like everything I said to explain it. And he just went, "Yeah, it is then." And
that is brilliant.
yeah. And then this week was one of the funniest because he said, "Do you know when I come back?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When I reincarnate," he says, "I'm going to be a bird." He says, "Because they look like they have so much fun."
Oh my God,
So,
he's so cool.
yeah, and I looked at him and I said, "Do you know, I'm going to reincarnate just for you as your great grandson, so that every morning I get up and slap your bald head."
No way.
Yeah, and he was just, because for a moment he was like, "Oh, what, you really?" And he believes, he's like, "You will come back and do that, won't you?" And I
Oh
mentioned
my
it,
God.
reminded him of it today, and he was just so overjoyed and bouncing around. He's like, "No, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get me."
Oh my God, I want to hang out with him. He's cool.
He's just, yeah.
How beautiful.
My
They get it. I mean, because it's
yeah. My teenage daughter, she's nearly 15. When she was 8, I'd converted my loft, and they had bunk beds, and she slept on the top bunk bed. And she came downstairs and she was crying. I was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And she said, "I'm having a spiritual crisis." And I'm like, "Okay, tell me." She said, "Well, I closed my eyes and my eyelids disappeared. The ceiling disappeared. The sky disappeared. There was nothing there." And then she really cried and she said, "It's all meaningless." And I just hugged her and I said, "I know, darling." And she went, "Is that normal?" I went, "Oh, yeah." I says, "But don't worry, you'll give it all the meaning you need." And she went, "Oh, okay, Daddy," and went to bed.
Oh my gosh, they're freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
It was just like, yeah. It was, I mean, these moments, I guess I I guess we all have those moments as children. I have really very little memory of being a child because it was so traumatic. And I've only recently found out that I'm neurodivergent with little bits of autism and you know all the rest of it. And now I understand the patterns that my brain, or however we want to say it, but I understand the patterns it went into to avoid memory and then to secrete memory so that I would never see it again. So you know, some really really deep base kind of level trauma. And then I've gone through, you know, because this body's 57. So I was about 20 something when I had my first big epiphany. So it's 30 years of unpicking and pulling at those threads and learning to be okay with the guy that I thought I didn't like, and learning to be and then learning to love the guy that I thought I was, and then learning to love from a position that I didn't understand. And you know, so I love language because I've seen how it is this beautiful, sophisticated prison. And that's
Beautiful.
amazing. That's just amazing. It's like
Yeah.
how can a word hold, how can this word I hold so much meaning? It's
Mhm.
just how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How intelligent.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
That is beautiful. And with the children, the just pure consciousness, like
Yeah.
prior to all of this heavy backpack, you know, of labels, my story, this happened to me. I have a lifetime of shadow work to do. Before that, like when I had my so-called awakening, I didn't hold back anything. I told my 6-year-old, "You're God," straight up. And he's like, "Yeah, I know." You know, because they're
Yeah. Yeah.
it's obvious.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Mum. I was waiting for you for the penny to drop.
I know.
Finally, she's got it.
Yay!
It's like my second son. He's away around the world something at the moment. But I was telling his older brother one day. I said, "Oh, I'm listening to this guy talking about a Kundalini awakening the other day," and said he's got a really good video. You should watch it. My son didn't really pay any attention to me, but my second son Jack kind of overheard it, but he didn't hear who I'd said. But he opens his phone and goes to YouTube, and this video pops up with Kundalini Awakening by this Indian doctor. And he went, "Oh, I wonder if that's it." He presses the button, listens to it, and within 10 minutes, he said he was in his chair like this, going through full-blown Kundalini experience. And
That's
he's had,
awesome.
just numerous, because it was like, oh, no expectation. Yeah, I'll see what this is,
Yeah.
click, and then boom, he's like shooting into the universe and doing all kinds of miraculous things. So yeah.
That's awesome. How cool.
Wow. Y'all are gorgeous.
Takes one to know one.
What a beautiful meeting.
Thank
Any
you.
last comments, questions like to be shared before we close out?
I think there's one thing that I like, this most recent question is, but what is the difference between this and that?
Beautiful. And what is it without a thought?
Nothing.
There's the answer. Direct experience. Boom.
And what is there to get when it's all ready?
Yay. Too easy.
Thank you, guys. Mwah.
Mwah. Big hugs. Thank
What
you,
a
guys.
meeting.
Yay.
Yeah.